Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce you to Andre Veskimeister from Parcel Locker Central, and our subject matter today is parcel lockers. Thank you for joining us today, Andre.
It's a pleasure being here, David. Thank you.
Thank you. So, can you give us an overview of the parcel locker sector and where it fits in the supply chain cycle, please?
Absolutely, and this is quite easy to answer. We are in the very end of the supply chain. We are the last mile. That is already in the name of the industry. Last mile delivery is at the end of the supply chain, delivering all the goods to the final destination. So usually we are dealing with end customers, usually private persons, but there is also business to business segment for deliveries. But yeah, mainly customers, mainly deliveries, and this is where we are located.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I was going to ask you a question. You answered a little bit. Who would use lockers? Would it predominantly be, I'd imagine, e-commerce deliveries, but would people like engineers and that utilize those services as well?
No, this needs a bit broader answer for that. Yes,
Okay.
I'm dealing right now mainly with the parcel lockers because there are the biggest adoption and the biggest volumes. But the smart locker industry and use cases is actually much broader. There are also office lockers, there are luggage lockers, there are gym lockers, different kind of lockers, and this automation is going on not only in the last mile but also in other segments. So we have to talk about automation as such and automated handover. This would be most probably the best term for the industry I'm involved. But yeah, right now I'm mainly talking and engaging with carriers and retailers who are incentivized to use parcel lockers.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I asked this question of everyone. What brought you into the lovely logistics sector?
It was a sort of accident, sort of deliberate decision before Estonian Post. I will come to that later. I was 10 years in media publishing company in the board of a stock listed company, and besides media houses, we had a printing house and also a home delivery company in the group. So I was in the board of a newspaper home delivery company for 10 years, and that's why I was sort of linked to the logistics, not directly to the parcels but to the logistics for 10 years. And after that it was sort of natural step to Estonian Post, and I resigned 3 years ago from the post of CEO of Estonian Post.
Okay, thank you. And it's interesting. Most people we talk to, both in my recruitment business, but also on logisticsexplained.com, most people have sort of fallen into the industry rather than planned. But once you get into it, you love it and you enjoy it. So, okay. So can you give us an overview of the the locker sector and how you see the locker sector developing in the next few years?
Let's say when we're talking about the last mile, then there are basically two options, whether this is a home delivery or this is out of home delivery. Out of home delivery is not only lockers, there are also PUDOs, the manned service points, and in some markets they are actually dominating the market, but also parcel lockers. So the biggest sort of, I wouldn't say not competition, but the biggest development is in a scale home delivery versus out of home delivery, because usually the trend is that the out of home delivery is eating the home delivery market share. So and that's why we see the rapid expansion of parcel locker networks. It depends, the speed depends on the countries. The most adopted one are Nordic countries and Baltic countries, and then Poland, that is called Lockerland due to InPost that is from Poland and now in expansion phase to other countries like UK and France. So lockers are one interesting sort of model how to save costs, provide better service for the end customers, and also for the greener delivery, because the carbon emissions are much smaller with parcel locker delivery compared to home delivery.
Oh, thank you. Because one of the questions we'll ask later is about how you see the green transition impacting or continue to impact the sector. So the next question we asked me was, what do you see as the current challenges for the market lockers, the parcel locker, sector? Is it adoption, or is it something more complicated than that?
It's the development phase of the markets is very different. There are mature markets and saturated markets with the lockers, and there are not so saturated markets, and that doing this just a beginning. But I would approach this question in a little bit different angle, and this is the traditional way of e-commerce has been that in the checkout of the retailer, customer types the home address, and then the parcel is delivered to that address, or then in some cases will be redirected to PUDOs or to parcel lockers. So customer has nothing to say about the delivery method and delivery destination. So what I see changing now in most of the markets where parcel lockers are growing is that customers are getting control over the delivery step by step. And this is what I see is absolutely needed, because it's not anymore that customers are sitting at home or willing to sit at home to wait to the parcel. Customers are extremely mobile. Their trajectories are very different than 10 years ago, and that's why we need to give flexibility also for the deliveries and for the customers the right to plan the delivery destination beforehand. So I see this is the biggest challenge that the last mile delivery companies are having, giving that control to the customers. But talking about the industry specifics now, parcel locker delivery business is very similar to surprise real estate business, because the location is extremely important in that equation. So if you will place the locker for the customer, I don't know, 5 kilometers away from his home and deliver parcels to the locker, then you shouldn't be surprised that customer don't like it. You have to place the lockers where customers are or where they visit frequently. So this is the way for sustainable parcel locker delivery. If customers need to do extra steps, extra trips to the locker, or extra walking to the locker, this is not good. Customers don't want to change their habits usually. So you have to place the locker on the right spot for the customer, and this means the location scouting. And last 2 years in the industry, this is probably one of the most important talking points: the locations. How to get the good location, how to get the data where the customers are, because this is not only demographics data you need also the mobile phone data or the traffic data where people are walking or commuting throughout the day. So this is definitely one thing that is going to be more and more important, because good location is good business. This is like in every real estate business. If you want to make a good and profitable cafeteria, you have to place it where people are and visit, not where you have the right place or available space of the cafeteria. So the how to choose the right location with the right capacity, this is the one of the keys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And the next question, which you may sort of not have answered, but have hinted towards, what are the biggest opportunities and threats for the sector? One of the questions I was going to ask, which I'm sure you'll cover, is, the location, like you mentioned, but because obviously if out of home is going to be adopted and successful, you need to have those, commutable or easy to reach location. But also, buying property or space is very difficult. So will that ultimately be done, by the carriers and the logistics companies, or will there be almost a new market created for infrastructure and space?
This is very good point, and this is also one of my thesis actually supports that. Right now, carriers are responsible for developing the partial locker networks, but this is not their sort of in their DNA, or this is not their carriers are logistics companies, and their specific is how to move things, not how to handle real estate. So one of my predictions or visions or theses is that most probably real estate or infrastructure funds and investors will be taking over the partial locker business, because this is much more similar to real estate project. The project is 50 years payback period, or let's say it's very much longer than the usual investment for carrier is meant to be. It's about location. This is what the real estate investors are doing every day. They are evaluating the locations. So I think that this is one trend that is going to happen is this infrastructure. Longer money will be entering the market, and this is related to the next topic. And one problem we are having is lack of interoperability. Let's talk about UK also. Now the lockers are developing fast. There are InPost, there are Jeep network, there are every now Royal Mail entered with the red lockers prominently, and with the plans much more. But there is no interoperability. They don't share the data with each other, and they are not interoperably used. I think that in the upcoming years, this kind of agnostic approach should come to the markets, so that the carriers can use the most efficient locker, not especially their locker or their partner's locker. So this is one thing I see a big problem in logistics, not only in parcel delivery, it's also in home delivery. It's not it's quite a common that to the same household there comes DHL, every Royal Mail van the same day, even the same hour, but actually this is not necessarily the good thing. So interoperability and data exchange is something our industry has to somehow to solve in the upcoming years. So, but this is only one part, and there are definitely much more sort of very interesting things I'm looking for, and two technologies. This is AI, and this is robotics and automation that is going to be definitely changing the industry in upcoming years dramatically.
Yeah, in all aspects, obviously in lockers and route optimization, maybe route delivery, robotics. And the next question we ask, and you've answered some of that already, is, what are people not talking about in the sector that perhaps they should be? And we need to come back to, where do you place your lockers? It could be ultimately that maybe they become, I'd imagine there's some parts of central London and all other major conurbations around Europe that are not very attractive for anything else, but there might be an area where they could fit lockers in and be utilized really well, and from an investment and a return on investment they could be very clever. So I like it. You like your thought patterns. And do you think that ultimately that the use of lockers and being agnostic, as you mentioned, will be driven by the market, or will it almost have to be government-led in different countries?
I'm looking for that problem in a way that when companies are entering parcel locker market, then usually there is competition in the market, and the players are competing with each other, trying to provide better reach than the competitor. So this is initial phase, and this is a growth expansion phase, and there is usually no way for interoperability in that phase. But in some moment the competition sort of eases. The capacity is there. There is not so many so big race for the dominance. Everybody has used to the market situation they are, and this is where the companies are looking for efficiency, and this is going to be the key, that they will start thinking that, okay, maybe I have in some lockers additional capacity. Maybe I will open that to my competitors with a half a price, and I can earn something, because I see that I am not able to fill that space by myself. So I do believe I do believe in market forces. I don't believe in regulations. In some cases it can be done, but it's not. Let's say if we need to organize central London traffic, then it has to be regulated somehow. Market cannot regulate that. But other than those kind of very heavy concentration points, usually market can regulate themselves much better than the regulations.
Thank you. That's really good. And how do you obviously parcel lockers, as we're talking about now today, are probably naturally green, greener than some other deliveries. Do you see, the next question is, how do you see the green transition impacting the sector? Are there, further green credentials that can come from it that we haven't seen yet?
No, let's say I don't see that delivery can be more sustainable or greener than parcel locker delivery, because okay. Again, only in case where the locker is located in the right place. If the customer doesn't do additional trip for the parcel, then I can't see right now better alternative for that, because what you can do with the couriers is that you can send the couriers to fill the parcel lockers early morning time when there is no traffic jam. So the delivery costs are lower. We see also the development of self-driving cars. This is going to be very important change in the logistics when those vehicles will appear into the streets, because right now we cannot automate the whole process. So we don't have a mechanism. We don't have a humanoid robot that takes the parcel from the self-driving vehicle and loads it to the parcel locker. But even if we need to send one person to transfer the parcels from the vehicle to the parcel locker, it's much more cheaper than the delivery driver should drive the whole route and then fill the lockers. So this is definitely the way to go. There are alternatives like drone deliveries. There are robotics deliveries. So the small robots driving around. I see them some use cases in the last mile definitely, but the majority of the parcels, I believe, will be delivered through parcel lockers, and this is the most greenest way. Now we can ask whether the parcel lockers will look the same in 5 years' time. Probably not. Maybe parcel lockers will go underground, so they don't need to be as a sort of cabinet system outside the building. It can be underground basically, and some kind of system bringing the parcel to the street level. They can be in the sort of former cafeteria real estate indoors. So it doesn't need to be definitely the metal box on the street that is usually ugly and then sometimes rusty and full of graffiti. So definitely the outlook and the mechanism of the lockers will evolve, but I believe that next 10 years there is era of parcel lockers.
Thank you. Great. And obviously, we are based in the UK. And the question I'm asking everyone is, if you could speak to the Prime Minister, then what would you ask them to do to help their business grow and flourish? So what would you ask for the Prime Minister to do to help the locker sector grow and flourish?
As I said, I think that parcel lockers are part of the modern infrastructure, not only for the parcels, but sooner or later I can get my morning croissants from my nearby parcel lockers. I can use it for rentals. I can use it for dry cleaning handovers. I can do a lot of the things with parcel lockers. So I think lockers will be part of the modern infrastructure, and the number of lockers will grow. But if I say that they are part of the infrastructure, they have to approach centrally also like a part of infrastructure, like electricity, like water. This is planned centrally in every city, every municipality. I would like to ask the Prime Minister to even more start planning of the delivery needs into the city, because this is for the good of all the citizens. If the delivery and other services they can consume are reached more easily, this is cheaper for everybody. So my request would be, start planning please also the infrastructure, the parcel locker infrastructure. That means sort of parking locations, infrastructure like electricity and mobile connections, places, and this would be my humble request for the Prime Minister.
Okay, great. And I just want to say thank you, Andre, for your time and going through the parcel locker sector. Really appreciate it, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners will really enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.